Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Gorman on Target, a program that is brought to you by the Wilson Hill Pistol Club, Manchester's greatest little secret. And this show is dedicated to firearms, training, safety, and education. We really get into the safety and the training aspect of firearms, and hopefully we'll help people out understanding them and working with them and being around them and try to do some good things here. Well, tonight I have a guest that's kind of a special category. Usually when you look at a show like this, you say, well, we're going to have somebody from the NRA, or we're going to have somebody from one of the gun stores or the firearms clubs or something along that line, and we usually do. But tonight, we're going to take a brand new twist here. I thought it would be very interesting to have a guest who had never taken a firearms class, had never really handled a firearm, had no training in it, and we'll just see what is it like to be on the other side where you're sitting in your home wondering, gee whiz, I wonder if I should take a class, or where would I find one, or things of that nature, what to expect. So having said all that, I would like to introduce my very lovely guest tonight, Christine Hunt. Welcome, Christine.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Don.
A lot of fun. We'll have a good time. So I already set you up, so don't tell me you were shooting in the Olympics.
Actually, I wasn't, but I do have to clarify one thing.
Okay.
I have shot firearms before, but I was very little. I used to go hunting with my father. And my very first experience with a pistol, I think I was 5 years old, and he, was showing me how to do it, pointing at a can by a tree, and I don't really know much about guns, so is there a safety on a pistol?
Depends on the pistol.
Okay. Well, apparently if there was one, he didn't put it on, and I pulled the trigger and almost shot his thumb off. So, so that was my first experience with a gun.
This is why we run this program, folks. You just heard it in living color from my friend Christine. Yes, sirree. You were about what? How old?
I think I was about 5 years old.
About 5 years old at the time. Yeah, there's no substitute for training and education, believe me. So anyway, tell us, excluding that episode in your life, moving on into, if you were, say you were going to take one of my classes, what would be going through your mind? What would you want? What would you be looking for? Fill us in on what that would be all about.
Well, my very first thought is safety, actually. I would want to be sure that I was handling a gun responsibly, and knowing what to do and what not to do. I would want to feel safe holding a firearm. I would want to be confident, so that if you're going to have a firearm, then you need to handle it with care. So I would hope to first learn the safety aspects of it, and of course, how to shoot it and hit a target.
Yeah, that's always a good thing.
Yeah, definitely. I actually have pretty good. I don't know the terminology, but when you can hit a target.
Well, usually that's sight, picture alignment, and trigger squeeze, but
okay.
Control, yeah, but that's okay. No, it sounds like your eye-hand coordination is basically
yes, but you know what makes it interesting for me? I have a problem where I can't close my left eye.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I shoot right-handed.
Right in.
And so I have to tilt my head and focus my vision with both eyes, which at first I see double,
Yeah.
but then once I focus in, I can see the target without it being double.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Do you know how many shooters there are in this world that would love to be able to do that?
Really?
Shoot
I
with
thought it
both
was
eyes open?
Really? I thought it was a handicap.
Oh no, oh no! I mean, there are a lot of not so much bullseye competition type shooting, but any of your your outdoor type of competition, your Western shoot, your IDPA, where they're shooting time and number of targets and hits, and they get the pressure of the old timer going and things of that nature, and they would love to be able to just shoot both eyes open, bang, 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 bang.
Wow,
But
that's really interesting.
yeah, you really have to work at that for most people. Some
Okay.
people, and that is actually very unusual.
Oh wow! Well, I'm enlightened actually.
Yeah, so that's really a good thing. Yeah. So what about? Okay, so safety come first. What else would you be looking for? You've probably heard all kinds of boogeyman stories about guns and people shooting each other and all this sort of stuff. Is there any thoughts along those lines?
You mean at just in general, or
In general. Yeah.
okay? Well, handling a gun is a huge responsibility, and it can be, you can obviously shoot to kill, So yeah, I mean, I think just the responsibility and making sure that I wouldn't want to just own a gun
Right.
without training.
Sure.
Absolutely not. That me personally, I have children, so I would want to make sure that I'm doing everything I can possibly can.
How old are your children?
My children are. My son is 11, and I have a daughter who's 13, and then
Oh, really?
and another daughter who's 20, actually. So
Really?
yes.
Really? 20 years old? Wow.
Yeah.
Boy, you're a young-looking mom.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Something's working for me.
Yeah, really, absolutely. Well, I'll tell you what, when you sign up for a class, but bring the family. The youngest student I had was she came with her dad. A young lady was 10 years old.
Oh, you start out that young?
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
As long as the parent has to be there for the whole time. And as long as I can judge that the individual child is mature and taking this serious, we put them right up there with everybody else. And 11, 12, 13, 15, 16,
Oh, that's great.
all of those ages, no problem at all.
That's really great.
Yeah,
definitely.
So, and that would include the 20-year-old.
Yeah.
Where are they located now? Obviously, the younger ones are with you, but
Yeah. My oldest is in college, and she's staying on campus over the summer because she wants to graduate a year early. So she's taking classes over the summer in Henniker at New England College. So she's, interestingly enough, getting her major in criminal justice.
Well, we got to sign him up for a class, no question about that. Criminal justice, okay. Yeah, when I was in the legislature, I was on the Corrections and Criminal Justice Committee for 4 years.
Of course you were.
Yeah, so...
Well, I'm sure she'd love to talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet. So, but getting back to guns, so if you were going to purchase a firearm, what would you be thinking along those lines?
What I would purchase, I would probably just purchase a pistol, a small pistol, if I felt like I needed it. At this point, I don't feel like I need it. There was a time a few years ago where I did, but I didn't follow through with it. So yeah, it would be a pistol, definitely.
So, okay, so I deliberately kind of pushed you in that direction on that question, because one of the things that we ask at the beginning of our class when people are introducing themselves and what kind of experience did you have and so on and so on, then one of the things I ask them is, do they own a firearm or anything else? But you had mentioned about being out with your dad, shooting at tin cans.
Yes.
So that was kind of a fun experience.
It was, definitely.
Outside of the safety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being a little girl and the fact that, I was trusted to, hold a firearm was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And we used to also shoot, his shotguns or rifles, whatever you call them.
Yeah, one of each.
So it almost knocked me over, but we did target practice.
Yeah.
And I never did it long enough to get really good.
Uh-huh.
And the most recent time I shot a firearm was a pellet gun, just a couple weeks ago at a friend's house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my target's still pretty good. I was surprised, even with both eyes open. So.
Okay. Oh, with both eyes open. Yeah. Man, I'm going to have bring you down to the classes to teach some of the guys how to do that.
Gosh.
Because you really have to work it. Like you say, when you first do it, you've got double vision.
You do. Yeah, you have to. It takes a moment, which I would wonder, if, God forbid, if I was ever in a situation where I needed to protect myself, I wonder how quickly I could focus, without it being blurry. I guess you could train yourself to do that.
Well, one of the classes that we do teach is personal protection inside the home and personal protection outside the home. And those classes are more combat type of stressful type situations. And the reality is you're not shooting really over 15 feet.
Mm-hmm.
And sights and all that stuff really are not that important.
Oh, okay.
So, but getting back to shooting tin cans and having fun. Now, what about your 11-year-old boy? Would he, you think he'd like something like that?
To get training?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely. He's a boy. Of course he does.
Oh, okay.
But then again, I mean, my 11-year-old daughter would as well.
Would she?
Oh, absolutely.
No kidding.
They both have BB guns, and, they enjoy shooting those. So.
And what's your attitude on that?
I was nervous at first for them to have BB guns, just because they are, they can hurt, injure someone. So, I was a little nervous about it, but, decided that, what, they might as well get comfortable with this, and I might as well get comfortable with it. And just as long as they knew the rules, the safety, never point it at anybody, don't ever point it at your own face, or,
right.
just, the safety and the precautions they should take.
Sure.
So, I could trust them with it, and so once those things were established, then I felt fine,
Okay.
Yeah.
And moving up the ladder with a real firearm, would you still feel confident if they were taking a class and were doing well?
I think I still would have an initial, nervousness about it because of, the possibilities of injury and so forth. But I would once again have to take that step of trusting them to take that next step. And if the trainer, of course, if I trust the trainer and,
Sure.
knew they were in safe, safe,
Well,
environments.
I'm going to assume, and of course you'll agree with this, that your children are responsible children.
They can be, yes.
They can be. Okay, that makes me feel better. Okay, we'd have to get them in the can-be mode for this thing. But I've had mothers bring their, it was a 12-year-old boy, surprisingly enough. Mom was doing the shooting. She was going through the class. And at the end of the class, I asked the young boy if he'd like to try the gun. It's a .22.
Oh, okay.
And he didn't want any part of it.
Oh.
Which really surprised me.
Yeah.
He said, no, I don't want to.
Yeah, I think it just depends on the child and their maturity level.
Sure.
And what they're comfortable with.
Sure,
And
absolutely.
I think my kids would definitely be eager and excited to try.
Yeah.
But I would also make the judgment if I felt like they were mature enough to be responsible.
Sure.
It's individual and dependent on the kid. So.
One of the things I have found is that a lot of times we'll have a family, mom and dad, generally 2 kids, sometimes 1, and they all sign up, as a family for the class.
Mm-hmm.
And it really is a solid thing for them because everybody now knows what the safety procedures are, what you can and cannot do, what you should and should not do.
Okay.
And what I find is that the parents feel very comfortable knowing that the child has gone through this program and is aware of these things. The other thing I find is you either have an older sister or an older brother with the siblings, right? So they naturally are going to explain to the other guy they better behave or else.
Yeah.
That whole thing there.
Yeah.
You know? So, but it really is a kind of a nice experience. It's sort of like going skiing together, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And there are many different types of shooting. I mean, there's bullseye competition shooting. There's IDPA where they go out and they shoot, like I was saying, with a timer.
Okay.
And so many hits, and you wouldn't start there, but you could work your way up to that.
I think my kids would enjoy something like that, actually, if it was competition.
Competition part of it?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think I would get into that as well.
Gee, I wonder why.
I'm a little competitive, I guess.
Yeah, I could see you. Well, in that case, what you would be looking at probably is some kind of a 22 pistol.
Okay.
It might be a revolver, it might be a semi-automatic.
Mm-hmm.
And again, in the classes, we present both. We let you handle revolvers and semi-automatics, explain the difference, how do you load them, what do you do if something jams or it's not working right, how do you handle that procedure.
Okay.
At all times, of course, is safety, how you handle it, how you pick it up, which way it's pointing at all times is really emphasized throughout the whole class.
That's great.
But by the same token, by the end of the class, I've had people that come into the class and say, I've never handled a gun in my life. I'm nervous. Oh, my God. And I said, don't worry about it. By the time you leave here, you're going to be probably heading down to the gun store to buy a gun. And I did. I had one lady show up one time, and she was so happy with her targets that she said, I'm going to take this to work. I'm going to show all my workers, co-workers. I'm going to show my husband. I'm going to show it. She was really excited.
Sounds like it empowers people. It gives them that sense of empowerment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What I had told her early in the class, I said, by the time you leave here, you're going to be shooting at 50 feet. You're going to be shooting groups of either 4 or 5 shots that I'll be able to cover with my hand.
Oh, wow.
And she said to me, Don, you really don't know how bad I am. And I says, yes, I probably do, but you don't know how good an instructor I am, 4 or 5 shot groups. And she was. Yeah, she ended up doing that.
Oh, wow.
So it can be a lot of fun. It can be a lot of really great things. So what would you expect when you left the class, what would you feel, was accomplished? What did you achieve? What did you get for your money spent?
If I were to take your class?
Yeah. You and the kids. I'm trying to plant the seed.
Okay. What would I expect?
Yeah.
Okay. At the completion of the class?
Yeah.
Okay.
For example, if I went for a roller coaster ride. At the end of the roller coaster ride, probably my expectation would be, wow, that was something else.
Yeah.
Let's go do it again. But I'm in a roller coaster, so.
It sounds like we would probably have fun. I think trying something new as a family, especially something exciting as, shooting guns, especially I think for kids because it's such a, hands-off type of thing, almost taboo. You're not supposed to touch a gun,
Right.
So I think that, as a family, it would be pretty exciting, especially for the kids, because it's, not something you do every day. It's not something their friends do every day,
Yeah.
So it would be very unique experience. And I think it probably could build some confidence too.
You're absolutely right on the confidence issue. I can think of a couple of situations that when I asked the parent about the maturity level of the individual child, they came back with something like, well, they're a little shy, and they're not very outgoing and so on and so forth. And I brought up that exact same question. Do you think this will build some self-confidence? And they said, yeah, we hope so. We really think it would.
And it must have, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The kid was bouncing off the ceiling. And wow, look what I did. And I'm sure he could go to school or wherever and tell all his friends.
Definitely. And I think having their parents trust them to do that, and then another adult as yourself, instructor, that must really make them feel pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. So it really is. We like to bring out the family aspect of it. We have a event coming up. Next week. It's a poker shoot for the members of the club down here at Wilson Hill. And they have this target, and it's got all kinds of cards. Ace of spades, queen of diamonds, so on and so on.
And you play poker?
And you play poker with the gun.
Oh,
so you're shooting, 3 kings, okay. 2 queens, good, full house. And there's 6 shooters at a time. And it's a 50-50 pot. Okay. So half the money goes to the winning hand, if you will, poker hand. The other half goes to the club. And wow. And we'll be cooking hot dogs and hamburgers and, just having a good time with it.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we'll be. Look, this is the first time we've done this.
Yeah.
But, again, it gets back into the family aspect of the club. We take our shooting quite serious. And we're very involved with legislative action, as you know.
Yes, I do know.
So that, but it's fun. It's a family activity. We like to get out there and emphasize the family aspect of it, because there's so much on TV and movies, and it seems like the only thing they want to do is emphasize the bad stuff.
I was just thinking about how much bad press, just the subject of guns gets. And the organization I work for, as you know, the Live Free or Die Alliance, we really try to provide, both sides of the story.
Yep.
People are very passionate about how they feel about guns or any other topic.
Oh, sure.
But it seems like in New Hampshire, that's a really, really hot topic. And, so we really try to give that balanced view, the pros and the cons of each, issue they're addressing concerning guns, and give, the citizen a chance to talk about it. So I brought a couple things for you to read later.
Oh, you did?
Yes, I did.
All right.
We have what we call a citizen voices on our website, and that's where we summarize the feedback we get on the issues that we post on. We post a question on Facebook. It gives a chance for the citizen to comment on it, and we give a summary, and it's always balanced. It's always, this is what the supporters are saying, this is what the opponents are saying. So, it really gives just a really balanced view. So, but the gun topic is a heavy one, I tell you.
I got news for you. You don't have to tell me.
Oh, I'm sure you already know that.
Yeah, we've had some rather interesting guests on ladies who, Women's Defense League and people like this who are really in the forefront of women's rights to carry firearms for self-protection, and they are serious about it.
Yes, definitely.
So it's a very, very hot topic here
Definitely.
in New Hampshire.
Yeah, and I think that, for any subject, especially guns, it's being educated is really important. And I think that's probably what you do is you educate people on, the safety of it, and, it's just, you have to be educated, otherwise you're really going to just be ignorant about it, Yeah,
so. And that's what we say. Our whole program is safety, training, and education. Mm-hmm. And that's really what it is all about, is people that are trained, take training, take lessons, take classes, and know and understand what it is they're doing with firearms, and the fun you can have, and the different organizations
activities
and clubs you can belong to. Mm-hmm. And it really is quite a sport, which it gets very, very little or no press, no positive press.
Well, you just said sport. That's one thing that I don't think comes to many people's minds when you hear the topic of guns.
Right.
They think violence, they think, people are abusing their, their right to own it, or, but I honestly wouldn't have thought of a sport either, but I think that, that's really what, obviously they're used for hunting, they're used for protection, but sport is a big thing.
But it was kind of interesting at the beginning of the program when I asked you about your involvement. You told us about your dad, but then for yourself personally, you were talking immediately. Your mind went into self-defense, and if I needed a gun, and I don't think I need one now, but your whole mindset wasn't skeet shooting.
No, and I think that's dependent on. It's a personal thing. I'm a single parent, woman living on my own.
Yep.
With children. So I think that I would, I think of it more as, protecting myself and my family.
Sure.
Would I be comfortable owning a gun? Not right now. Absolutely not.
Until,
and like I said, I don't feel like I need to have a gun.
Sure.
But like I said, I just shot a pellet gun, and that was so much fun. And that's the sport part of it.
It is a sport,
So.
yeah. Yeah, when that tin can went flying, that was
Yeah.
fun. No question about it. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, Christine, I'm getting ready to wind up here, and this is going to be the last show that we'll be doing for the rest of the summer.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be winding down here, and so I just want to talk to the folks here for a second and explain that we will not be doing Gorman on Target in July and August. We will be coming back in September, and I have several, I believe, good guests lined up. We have several of the ammunition manufacturer representatives lined up that would be bringing. Some of the arms manufacturers representatives will be bringing, and believe it or not, I'm working on getting some of the federal folks, FBI agents, things of that nature, to come in and give us their perspective of what this is all about. So we will be winding down for the summer, and I hope everybody enjoys the summer. And Christine, I want to thank you very much for coming in today and being part of the show. It was lovely having you on board.
Thank you so much. It's been great being here.
Great,
Appreciate it.
fun. Great
Yes.
fun. So with that, my friends, I'm going to bid you adieu until September sometime, when we will get back rocking and rolling. And until then, I would like to leave you with one thought. Reducing a magazine capacity from 20 rounds to 10 rounds does not stop crime. Thank you. Good night.